Alison Rosen is your new best friend. Alison, with her good times never end. Alison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Alison's your new best friend.
Hey everyone, hi, hello. Welcome to another very exciting episode of Alison Rosen is your new best friend. I am sitting here in the studio with your husband and mine, Daniel Quantz. He's getting situated. Hello.
Hi.
Is that your new hello?
I'm just trying to will myself into that feeling.
Yes, I know. I feel like it's been a while since we've done just a you and me episode.
I feel like it has.
It's because I've been cheating on you with other guests.
Actual guests?
Yeah, I had
How dare you?
Yasser Lester.
Mm-hmm.
Who else did I have? Suchin Pak,
Mm-hmm.
Greg Proops,
Mm-hmm.
Carrie Howley at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess I had reruns because my fucking mom died.
How dare she? So selfish.
She made it about her,
She really wanted to fuck with your schedule.
Yeah. Can I say something that is sad though?
Well, that was sad.
Can I say something else that was sad?
Yes.
I got to decide how much I want to talk about my mom on this episode. But something I was just thinking about, I don't think I've said it on the show before. I have said it to you. We went to Japan.
Yes, we did.
And we got little Japanese gifts and tchotchkes and things like that. And I was going to give those to her for Christmas.
Yeah.
And oftentimes when you come back from a trip, you give people gifts. But I'm like, I'm going to hold these. These are going to be Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking primo stuff like really cool pens, a tiny little card that you roll on your desk and it sucks up dust. I mean,
Yeah.
they're really living in 2095 or whatever that
Fun
meme
little
is.
things.
Yeah, nothing fantastic, but still, it showed, little notebooks, showed thought. And I never got to give those to her.
Right, because we weren't down there for Christmas. We were going to go.
Well, no,
The
they
next
wure
day.
supposed to come
Oh, they were
up on
gonna
the
come up, that's
26th, but they had the flu.
They were sick.
So she didn't yet, or did she? I don't know. But the thing is, she died thinking I didn't get her anything in Japan.
Doubt she was really thinking. Oh, yeah. She probably did think that.
Wait, why did you flip-flop?
Well, I was thinking she probably wasn't thinking about what we got her for Christmas, but then I'm like, oh, yeah, you're saying about Japan, which was like 5 months earlier, so 4 months earlier.
Yeah, I mean, look.
She didn't know you were holding it off until Christmas.
As her entire body was riddled with
She didn't have the thought.
lactate, with influenza A and lactate, which is some measure of, I think, like how acidic your body is when you have sepsis. As her pupils were becoming fixed and her brain was no longer doing brain stuff, I doubt she's like, Japan,
No,
but
she was
but
probably
in the
having
months prior, she probably noticed it.
in her fever dream wherein she forgot her own name.
No,
And
she
she was a
remember her name, but she
salesperson.
forgot what year she was born.
And she was a salesperson
Yes.
in
Costa Mesa.
Costa Mesa.
Just like that episode of Sopranos, which I kept thinking about,
the one thing in that dream
that
was-
carried over.
was that she had a daughter who went to Japan and didn't bring her anything back. So tragic.
We say this in
If
jest.
it's any consolation, she would have been thoroughly underwhelmed.
We say this in jest, but here's the thing. Okay, I guess I am going into it. And then I got to tell you about Patreon and Substack. And then we got to move to something lighter. I have been wrestling with something massive lately, which is the realization that this is really more a Patreon thing. I don't think my mom loved me. And I had a suspicion of this my entire life. Like, I don't feel the love. I feel a lot of other things. And there's a lot of things I can point to which are not loving gestures. But certainly somewhere in there, there's love. And now that she's gone and there's been a number of revelations, I'm more certain of it. All it is now is just this is all just validating the feeling I had my whole life. And that sucks. But it's like, in a way, I'm no longer wrestling with this thing that I can't make sense of. It's sort of like being in a relationship where presumably your significant other loves you, but there's all these, it just never feels right. Like you never fully trust that. And maybe you suspect they're cheating, or I don't know. She was cheating on me with other children. So, I want to make it clear. She did not have another family. That was not the revelation. Imagine if that were the revelation. Shell.
That would be messy.
Yeah. And you're like, maybe there's something wrong with me, that this relationship doesn't feel good because other people are telling me I should be feeling good. I'm lucky to have a significant other like that, but it just never feels good. And then the person, dies, and then you discover they were
up and dies.
Yeah. She went boop.
Mm-hmm.
And then you discover, they were actually awful to you. They were awful to you.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't, there wasn't something that you needed to figure out in yourself that made it so that you felt unloved. It was all there. I guess that is validating. There's grief, but then it's sort of validating, as opposed to like this feeling I couldn't shake my whole life. By the way, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I don't think she sat in her ineffective therapy and was like, she might have talked about how she was mad at me. I think she thought she loved me, but her love was.
She was mad at you, and she talked about that for sure.
Yes, for sure. But I'm talking about even before that, like my whole life. She thought she loved me, but what she considered love was something very different than what we consider love.
Want my thoughts?
Let me think yeah. I'm just kidding. Yes, please. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. I have thought a lot about this because of my own experiences. And I think like it's cliche to say, like, people say love is a verb. But
I say that, but I don't say it in that voice. Wait, hang on. Let me try it. Love is a verb.
Love is a verb. And I feel like it's actually a really useful way, because often, whether it's a relationship with a parent or
sorry, I got to slide this thing closer to me and it's making some noise. I just like to apologize for that.
Or like a partner or whatever, you're sitting there going like, does this person love me? And
am I expecting too much?
Well, and the person might tell you that they love you.
Usually they do.
And so they'll tell you they love you, but then their behavior
suggests
is not
something else.
Loving.
Right.
They're not taking care of you. They're not being selfless. They're not looking out for your needs. They're not
wanting the
giving
best
a
for
shit.
you.
They're not behaving in a loving manner.
Right.
And so there's that like discrepancy, and you go, I have just come to the conclusion at this, I don't know exactly when, but later in life, that it doesn't matter what they say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care,
especially if you're the child.
Well, because you can't know, really. You can't really know what's in their heart. Like, they can tell you that, but the only thing that matters is the behavior.
Yeah.
So, like, if they say, over and over that they love you, but then their behavior is totally contradicting that, well, then they didn't love you in that sense as a verb.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they didn't love you. They didn't
actively love you. Yeah.
They didn't do the love. They didn't love you. Whatever was in their heart, I don't give a fuck what's in anyone's heart, because I can't know. I can't know what's in anyone's heart. And then thinking about it even more, and maybe specifically relating to your situation.
Oh, like I'll perk up.
I feel like a difference between narcissists and non-narcissists, like actual narcissists, not like the colloquial narcissist that everyone uses.
You like
actual fucking narcissists, is that narcissists will tell you they love you, and non-narcissists will actively love you. Like, they will, someone who is not a narcissist will do the love. They will, in one way of doing that is like, I don't know, interpreting your behavior in a non-cynical way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you do something that may be interpreted two different ways. The person who actually loves you will
give you the benefit
of the doubt and say like, oh no, and defend you and say they wouldn't have meant. But the person who says they love you but doesn't actually will see it in the most cynical, oh, they're just being nasty.
Right.
You know, it's like, and in my family, there's a ton of telling you that they love you, like not one person, lots of people. And they do not fucking love you through any measure, like any objective measure.
Right.
Do they actually love you? And so like, what good is the telling you they love you? I remember my grandmother once, and I was at 12 or something.
The one who self-published poetry? I'm joking because both your grandmothers self-published poetry.
But one of my grandmothers self-published a book of golf humor.
Not
and so
that
she was
The
a
good one.
delight. No,
Yeah.
not talking about her. The other one who was my mom thinks she was borderline, but you know these things often are, you know, there are multiple things. Who the fuck knows?
I think they call it cluster B personality. Sure. Really, cluster B is like all the like borderline narcissism. It's other things too.
Just think Olivia Soprano. That was my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
Like no joke. She bought like this bell that you hang outside, and she was like, this bell, every time you hear it chime, I'm thinking of you. And it was like, no, you're not. You're never thinking of me. Like, I was just like, this is such bullshit.
But what she was thinking is, nice of him to call.
She didn't give
That's
a
my mom.
fuck. This grandmother didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't care. She was never thinking about me. She was never like, she never wanted to talk to me. She was never like, it was such bullshit, but it was like this performative, like, I see how much I love you. It's like, this is to make you feel good. I
Yeah.
even knew that at 12. It's like, this isn't for me. I'd give up. So anyway.
So wait, she gave you this bell?
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's in a landfill in Tucson.
What did it look like?
It was like
A
a
cowbell.
ceramic, yellow, like outdoor, like wind chimey bell.
Yeah. This is such a small nothing in the face of all the big somethings, but my parents were coming up. I think it might have been after we had Elliot. And remember how there was a gate you had to open to get to like park in our parking lot?
Wait, at our old place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, maybe they left a message or something. Somehow I heard a recording and my mom was like, I don't know. She's not fucking answering. Why won't she answer? Like, and it was just like they popped over or no. We knew they were coming out.
Oh.
But I had just had Elliot. Like it was just, I don't know. I missed him by 35 seconds or something.
Wow.
It wasn't like they had been sitting there dialing me. It was
Right.
like they were, you know, in the driveway waiting for me to open that thing or whatever. I don't know.
I forgot that we would let their car in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't park on the street,
Yeah.
even though they could have. Or maybe was it difficult to find parking on that street?
I can't recall.
I mean, my dad couldn't walk long distances, but anyway, all I'm saying is that energy is something that I have been acquainted with my entire life. I used to say that because I think therapists would wonder when my mom texts me or calls me, why does it cause me such intense anxiety? You know,
she would pick up on that.
my therapist, I would discuss it.
No, your mom.
No. Therapist would wonder.
Oh, your therapist would ask.
Yeah,
this.
yeah. Oh no. Like why when I get a text from her, why do I feel like there's a cop behind me?
Mm-hmm.
You know that feeling when there's a cop behind you even when you're doing nothing wrong? Or I
driving
have
by
it.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, like when I'm walking through the metal detector at an airport, like hope I didn't accidentally put
Yeah.
drugs up my butt.
Yeah.
No,
with the cop though, it's like, is there like a scratch on my license plate or something? Are they just gonna, who knows?
Meanwhile, we've been driving around with expired tags, even though we've paid. We just haven't transferred. Let's put the sticker on the license plate. It's in the glove box.
Only one needs it.
Well, I know, but
Okay.
that's 50% of our automobiles.
50-50 chance.
So there was a cop behind me the other day, though. That's why I was thinking about it. But we found out they cannot pull you over for expired tags if they run it and you're not expired. But if you're parked, they can give you a ticket, which we found out the hard way. So anyway, yeah, why is my day instantly altered if I receive one text from my mom with a question in it? And it's because I would describe it this way. I feel like from the moment she texts, there's an hourglass that's turned over, or a timer that's turned. The sand is running through the timer.
It's like one of those chess timers. She's hit the timer, and now you're on the clock.
Yeah. Actually, that's not how I think of it, but that's a great way to think of it. I just picture sand through the hourglass. These are the days of our lives. Sand through the hourglass until she has a freak out, or until I'm in trouble, or it's like, you know what it is? It's like, it's this feeling of like, I am in danger until I respond.
Mm-hmm.
She is sitting there assuming the worst about me.
Just staring at her phone, waiting for those dots to appear. Just seething.
Growing up, she would call, if she was expecting a call back and she didn't get it within her very short window of the appropriate, she'd be like, nice of so-and-so to call back. And it's like, Mom, like, people have other stuff going on in their life. You're not the center of their lives. So anyway.
She didn't.
No.
Stuff going on.
Right. I think that's sort of why she didn't understand the pace of most people who have juggling stuff. But anyway, so to hear that message, and again, I hope people realize this is nothing compared to the big stuff. I'm not basing a whole character assessment and lifetime relationship on this, but to hear that message where they're like, nice, like, why isn't she answering that? Like they went 0 to 10 so fast, and they were so angry at me. That is how I've always felt.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's no buffer. There's no like, oh, she'll get to it when she gets. I mean, obviously, if they're waiting for me to let them in, I can understand where they're not like, oh, she'll get to it when she gets to it. But there was no like,
There was no chill.
Oh my God. They were the least chill people ever.
But people who had every reason to be chill.
Right.
They had a very
chill
comfortable
existence.
life.
Yeah.
Like extremely comfortable.
They were not my dad. Always. My mom, I don't think she ever experienced joy in her life.
I mean, it just goes to show you, though, how much
it's all psychological.
It's all in, because like you look at how they just were never at peace, and yet they had all the resources
to be at peace.
Be at peace. Like, they had no excuse. I mean, in a looking at it from the outside,
right?
And then you see people, people, I'm sure I do, who are always busy and doing things, and they've got tons of like,
podcasts. That you're gonna say?
I was gonna say pots in the air. They got a lot of pots on the stove and plates in the air.
They're juggling irons.
Yeah, and
near a fire.
But they seem to have like a kind of easy, joyful way of existing, and you're like, oh, it doesn't come from what you think it does. It doesn't come from leisure
Material
time
things,
or anything.
yeah.
There's a mindset.
I think so. I mean, that's the really weird thing to think, is that if we suddenly found ourselves on the street, maybe that's not a good example. You can go up and down in life, and your mood is probably going to be relatively the same. Once you, I mean, there's obviously situational sadness. Like, I would say I'm not a bundle of joy right now.
Well, there's emotions and then there's mood.
Yes.
So they're kind of different.
Right.
Kind of like weather and climate.
That was the most self-satisfied.
Yeah. Well, it was sort of whatever. Yeah. But I mean, like, it's your emotions change all the time, but mood is more of a consistent.
Right. Speaking of, are we going to lose access to our SSRIs? Because those have been quite a help for me.
I don't know what the status.
Like
I can't imagine. There's certain things that they are talking about getting rid of. That I feel would be so unpopular across the board, like blue and red, just things like Medicare, Social Security, Department of Education spending on special education services. FAA. Like these are things like you could. They're saying they're going to cut them, but if they do, that isn't affecting liberals,
right?
That's affecting everyone.
Yeah.
So and it would be so unpopular that I can't imagine them doing it. That said, like we're living in an age where so many things I couldn't imagine happening are happening. So who the fuck knows? If they get rid of SSRIs, that's going to be.
I just don't think they will. First of all, withdrawal is a fucking nightmare.
Well, if they did get rid of them,
so for anyone who doesn't know what we're talking about antidepressants. But you know what I think? I think a black market for all of that stuff will just open up.
Well, you just go to Mexico.
Sure.
That's what we used to do in Tucson.
You go to Mexico for your SSRIs when you were a child?
Yeah. People would, my stepmother would go there to get like Adderall. So this is way back before Adderall became popular,
right.
But she would, because everything was cheaper. You just cross the border at Nogales.
We have a babysitter who goes with her mom, and her mom does like all her dental stuff down there, and like gets a bunch of everything's cheaper down there.
We do. Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't know that. Maybe she could get us some stuff.
She said, "Let me know if you need anything," but she meant like snacks. I'm like, I'm not familiar with south
Honestly,
of the border
I don't
snacks.
need to dabble with the pharmaceuticals, man. It's so tempting to go like, ooh, get me some Addies or whatever. But it's like, fuck that shit, man. I do not need it.
I don't think that's over the counter down there. I think you see a doctor. But I just think it's probably someone who's
you need for me, like I feel like Mexico, this is probably so unfair to Mexico. I think of Mexico as being just like the Wild West. It's like you just go down there and but
you have to see a guy. So you see a guy and then you get what you want. That's my
a prescription.
That's my understanding from her, yeah. But I don't really know. But so anyway, I just want to say, and I've written about this. I don't know where I put it. I wrote about it somewhere. I truly thought I am a happy person who's been in a bad mood for like the last 30 years. Because I think I've always thought of myself as like, this is going to make you laugh. I think I'm like a relatively at peace, sunny person.
You think of yourself at peace?
My core.
Well, that's good that you feel that way. I mean,
my core person is someone who is at peace and is sunny. I've just been in a bad mood ever since college. That's how I conceived of myself. But I think since Lexapro, I have been able to become more at peace. Yeah. I mean, you probably don't. What do you think of the fundamental me as? Tread lightly.
Well, what fundamental you? I think that you are. I actually don't think it's that far off. You are. The way I get at this is I think of like, what would you be like drunk? You don't drink.
It's so funny that you've never known me drunk because some people have never known me not drunk.
But if I can't imagine you being a miserable drunk. I think you'd be kind of a fun drunk. And
I'm an annoying drunk. I was like a person who, it was like the first time I got drunk, every time I got drunk. I was so drunk.
Right, but you were probably fun, right?
Yeah, until I threw up.
See, and that's how I am. And so like, that to me is your core personality.
Who you are when you're drunk?
Mm-hmm. I know it's probably a stupid way to see it, but like,
no,
but I think
alcohol is a disinhibitor.
Yeah, I think that there are people who are just like, they get drunk. It's like, do not let that person drink.
Right.
There's always going to be arguments. They're going to get into fights. That's an angry person. That's their core. But I was always a pretty fun drunk. It's like just goofing around and just having, it's like I never would get into fights. I didn't have a stomach for it. So to me, I feel like that is kind of your core personality, and that there's these layers of anxiety. I think you're like, you've been conditioned, I think, to worry a lot. And so there is this like loop in your brain or like a monkey in your brain that's constantly finding things to worry about.
A hamster on a wheel is how a friend of mine in college described it.
Yeah, but it's more like something looking for tasks. It's like looking for things to feel anxiety about. And so like, if you could like give that monkey Lexapro, like, or you could like settle the monkey down, then I do think your core personality is actually kind of what you feel it is.
Right.
I don't think you're that wrong. For me, I felt the same way, but I always felt like this depressed, like, heaviness.
You tell that microphone with your hand.
Sorry. I always felt this heaviness ever since high school, maybe even before that. This just like that was always weighing on me.
According to your mom, it was before that.
Yeah,
It was when you were a child.
Right. And it wasn't until therapy, and I just thought everyone was like that. And then and that there was something wrong with me that I couldn't like get over it. And then in therapy, they were like, my therapist was like, no, not everyone is like that. You have like a low level of depression, not like serious. And I'd always resisted any kind of SSRIs or anything.
Same.
And he put me on a very, very, very low dose. And it was like within a week.
Which by the way, they say it takes longer to really feel the effects. But I also,
it was like,
sort of
it was like the
me.
clouds just parted, and it was like, and I just had suddenly like, I was motivated to do things, and it just completely changed the way that I, like instead of waking up and just dreading being alive, which is kind of how it was.
I think you were like, give me one.
I wanted, well, this is when he finally.
Give me one thing to be happy to look, have hope about or whatever.
I said, I was like, give me one reason to fight for anything.
By the way, you were with me already at the time.
I know, but I couldn't feel any like. I was just like, I can't. And he's like, okay, I think it's time for you. and then and everything changed, and it was like, oh my God, like it just was like everything clicked into my mind. It was like so many things that I was punishing myself for, like, oh, I don't have the and it's like I was exercising and I was doing all the shit you're supposed to do, and it still wasn't helping. And so for me, SSRIs were like a huge, and I'm barely on them. Like I'm on the lowest dose, but it's just enough to push me to a level where it's not a handicap anymore in terms of my ability to motivate.
And then you actually switched from one to a different one. And I had been saying to you, I wonder if you want to
switch.
Yeah. And you got defensive and thought that I was like, just take a pill and be a good boy.
It's so tricky because when someone who wants to recommend, maybe you should be on, it can sound like.
That is not what I said.
But you know what I'm saying.
I know.
It's the same
but I just felt like your meds aren't cutting it right now because you are so depressed right now. I can see it. They say that oftentimes a partner can see it more clearly.
Well, but
I could see all the signs of like how depressed you were, but yeah, you thought I was saying like, don't burden me with this. Take a pill.
The thing about depression too is like that. So
it lies to you.
Is that it feels like it's motivated. It always feels like it's motivated, and it can be like there can be situational depression, but like so often, at least with me, it's not at all. But so anyway, now like I'm on this new one, and it's like it's just all it does is clear the sky up. So now you can
like takes the sandbag.
That doesn't mean you don't still have bad negative emotions, but it's just like, okay, now it's like the baseline is raised a little, It's
like walking around with a headache every day, and then you take Advil one day and the headache is gone, and you're like, oh, this is how
I didn't have to live with a headache all the time. And but now I've been hitting cardio harder, like more regularly. I was running before, which
Daniel's
I love.
Biohacking, you guys.
Well, I was running, which I love, but I can't get to it till later, and it's dark. And I was just like, you know what? I have a stationary bike. I'm gonna get back on it, do that, and you know what? Fucking spin classes, man. That is a good workout. And I've been doing that like 5 days a week, and that combined, I feel my mood is so good these days.
I need to.
I feel
get back
great.
On the bike. What do you like about running? Because I'm someone who's never enjoyed running. I have a body made not for running.
Well, it sucks at first, like getting into shape to run can be hard. So you really have to ease into it so that it doesn't become discouraging. Once you're sort of in shape and can do it, it's very meditative. It's so nice to get the fresh air and like be outside. And, you know, we have this really nice, like walking path near our house. And so you can go a long distance and there's only a couple stoplights and there's lots of people out and, you know, walking their dogs. And there's this community aspect to it. If you, and it's a journey. And it's also like, if you're, you know,
what does that mean? It's a journey. Like
it means you're not in the same place the whole time.
Right.
Like if you're on a treadmill or something, and it's easy to just quit, be like, you know what, I'm done. But like if you can't,
right,
because you're 2 miles away from home, you got to come home. So it kind of forces you, and I don't know, it just is it feel like jogging just can make your body just feel good. But the I think it can be rough on the joints. I don't know.
It for sure can.
It's tough. And then the thing with the spinning classes is it's like it can be boring because you're just right there, you're sitting, you're just in the fucking room and you're not going anywhere. And depending on like if you have a good spin class instructor on the app or whatever, it can either be really good or really like
and are you doing Apple workouts now? Is that what you're doing?
I don't like the Apple workouts.
But they're not a sponsor. You can say it out loud.
I don't want Apple. Apple's AI is going to target me.
Oh, but so who do you do then?
I've been doing Peloton. They have, it's pretty good, Peloton. They make it fun, but Peloton's a whole fucking thing.
So, I got brunch with 2 college friends.
That's exciting for you.
It was exciting for me. One of them I've been in on and off contact with since college, and she came to Elliot's baby shower. Mm-hmm. So it hadn't been as long. The other one I hadn't seen since 1998 when she got married the year after college. And so I hadn't seen her since then.
You guys were swing, last time you started swing dancing to squirrel nut zippers.
So she was out here because her child is doing like a dance competition out here. So I picked her up at her hotel. It was so funny. She opened the door to my car and she goes, "Hi, friend. Tell me about the last 30 years. Start at the beginning." And I'm like, well, the day after college. But it really was, it's so cliche to say, but it really was like no time had passed.
Yeah.
Just that comfort level. It was so nice. And the thing that I thought was interesting was because I walk around feeling like I should call everyone I knew in my 20s, I should call them and apologize. Like, I'm sorry. I was
thinking the same thing this morning, almost.
This is like beginning to be a just me or everyone. Mm-hmm. Does everyone feel just mortified and like they owe society an apology for the person they were in their 20s?
Maybe.
And even my friend Elisa was saying, like, you know how you look back on things and then you're able to see your part in it like you weren't back then. And we all felt that way about incidents that had happened in our 20s with each other. And it was like so interesting to and I remember being like, but I never thought that about you. I never, I don't have any issues with things they had done. But we all felt the need to like account for who we were.
That's so funny.
Maybe excuse me. In my mind, the narrative is I was this disaster of a person.
Yeah.
Because I was raised by disasters of people. And then I got into therapy and like relearned or learned how to be human. That's sort of what I think. I mean, all 3 of us at that table have like worked on ourselves, but I just wonder if that's not whether you've been in therapy or not, if that's not the path that everyone feels they've taken.
Well, that's part of it for you, but I think also, they say that the brain doesn't reach full maturity till 2026.
Right.
And that's not like I said till 2026. So everybody is immature
next
for
year,
2 more years
guys.
or 1 more year. No. So I think when I look back at my behavior, who I was at 21, there's this feeling at the time like I'm an adult.
Yeah.
But now I look back at even the way that I thought and the stuff that I did, and I go,
It's mostly the way I thought. And the stuff
I was
that
a child. I was still a child. Like, I was an older child, but I was the most adult I'd ever been.
Right.
But I still wasn't. My brain I was still figuring things out in the way that when I watch Elliot, figure things out as a second grader. Like, there's still that, like, a little bit every time you advance, you're now play acting the new role. You haven't been in a role long enough for it to become like settled. So you're always like, oh, how do I do this now? Now I can drink and go out. What is this like? What is it like to have friends and independence and getting a job? Like, what is this personality? Everything is just like figuring it out, and the only frame of reference you have is the frame of reference of a child, because you've only ever been a child. So it's just your brain isn't set up for it, and you don't have the experience yet, and so you do stupid shit.
Right.
And that's everybody. And then you add on to that the fact that you have a lot of dysfunction and stuff, and that just makes it worse. But
I forget if I've talked about this on the show or not. I don't think I have. My friend hooked up with this guy in college that she'd had a talk. He was cute.
Mm-hmm.
And I told another friend. And she was upset with me about that. And she's like, why did you tell her? That was mine to tell.
Mm-hmm.
The mature response is, oh my God, you're right. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But instead, I
got defensive.
Yes. And I don't even know what my justification was.
Mm-hmm.
I think the truth is I was probably jealous. I didn't like this guy, but I was jealous that she was having success with guys, or I don't know what it was. I don't remember for sure. I'm just guessing that it was something like that,
Right. You're like not fully aware of your own feelings
of why
and
you're doing.
motivations.
Yeah, not at all.
Right.
And so I got defensive, and I felt like justified in, well, I didn't intend anything bad, and that, but I don't know. I don't even know that I ever talked about it with her. But I just know that she came up to me some interval later and gave me a hug and was like, I don't want to be in a fight with you. And it was so mature and kind and gracious.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel bad about the way I handled it, because I was unable to hear any criticism about myself. And that is who my parents were until their dying day. And so I don't know if that's all young people, or if it's because I grew up in a house that never modeled accountability and being able to hear that your actions hurt someone's feelings.
Yeah. I just think we all need to chill. In terms of our own judgment of ourselves and our ego. Yeah, it's like, look, we're all not to get but it's like we're all gonna die. And here's the secret. Nothing matters. It's a big joke. Don't take shit so seriously. Don't.
It's hard not to take your own shit seriously.
We do. We take ourselves too seriously. We're so hard on ourselves, but it doesn't fucking matter. I mean, I look at our kids, and if I imagined them doing the things that I punish myself for, I would not feel the same way about it. I would be like, oh, that's nothing, Elliot is doing this theater stuff, and he was like, I picked him up, and he's like, I embarrassed myself today, and he told me what it was, and it was nothing.
Was it that he messed up his line during rehearsal?
No, he he went with the wrong group up to the stage, and everyone was looking at him. It was like no big deal, and it was like, and he was like, and I was just talking to him about how it doesn't matter, and in his mind, for some reason, he's mortified.
Yeah,
and I remember times when I had similar situations where I think, oh my God, that was so embarrassing, and it's like, no, it wasn't. It was fine. Who gives a shit? Literally every person that you that was in that room that was laughing or you thought was judging you, they all have memories of similar situations
Right.
too. They don't remember this. They remember their own. And guess what? None of it fucking matters because we're all, it's just, none of it, it just doesn't matter. It's
know.
like, just fucking move forward and be happy and love yourself and forgive your fucking messiness because like nobody gets through this. Like, look at the richest man in the world, the richest man who's ever lived, okay? And just watch him on stage and tell me that if that was you, you wouldn't be mortified. And this is literally every time he opens his mouth, every time he goes, like every time he wields a chainsaw trying to be tough, he is the dorkiest, most cringe motherfucker who's ever lived. And also the most successful. Does it fucking matter? Like, yeah, everyone's laughing at him. He's got $500 billion in the bank. Like, why are you beating up on yourself? Who gives a fuck?
I wish humiliation was something, and embarrassment were things that I was more comfortable with. Because just saying like the entire world is laughing at him, like part of me just went, ugh. Like that is my nightmare, I think.
Oh, it's not.
Is it
easy.
everyone's nightmare?
Of course. But
it's so interesting as social creatures how intensely.
Well, do you know why?
Well, because you would die if you're ostracized from your group. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing more threatening to you than being laughed at.
Right.
But, you know, the truth is, though, you're not going to be ostracized. Your friends, if you have good friends, they still love you. You know? I don't know. I just feel like these days, with everything going on, it's like you're beating yourself up over some stupid shit when you've got people who should be beating themselves up who do not beat themselves up.
Shameless administration.
We can do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah.
Do whatever. Be happy. Fucking shit's crazy right now. Like, I don't know.
Can I bitch about a bank for a second?
Yeah.
Because as part of the estate stuff, my sister and I have had to like go. My mom had she had multiple bank accounts. I think it's because, you know, when you go to a bank and they're like, we have a promotional something for 3 months, you can get this good rate. And she'd be like, great. And then they're like, you got to move, you know, external money here. She was chasing different. Yeah. So, you know, she's got like a number of accounts that have like $13 in them because she had moved the money out.
You'd think there'd be more given the fact that she was doing that, but go ahead.
There's not nothing. No, but you're right. You'd hope there's more. But so anyway, part of what we have to do is go to banks, show them the certificate of trust. Well, this is what our fucking first lawyer, have I shared that he dropped us? Our first estate lawyer dropped us because he was concerned there was a conflict between my sister and me. He was the worst. Yeah. So anyway, he was like, here's what you do. You'll take the certificate of trust, go to the bank, put it in, you know, do this, that's it. That was the most, let me give you an example of, I can't think of a good analogy, but I'm trying to think of an analogy of someone being like, you do this, this, and this. And then when you get into it, it's like a million more steps, you know? Yeah. Probably some kind of cooking thing or whatever. Because each bank has their own version of that you have to fill out and you have to get it notarized. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, Citibank, which is where I have done my banking for years, they are like one of the most difficult to deal with because they have this like intense interrogation process. And it's just weird that other banks don't have that. Like they need to know where the funds came from before that. There's just all these steps. It's like they want to make sure this is not drug money from the Cayman Islands.
Yeah.
Now, when they explain it, well, it's federal regulations, blah, blah, blah. It makes sense. Okay, I understand. But also, why are you the only bank that is making us do this? So anyway, we've jumped through all their hoops. And now I just got an email and I'm like, okay, Like, we've opened the account, I've moved the money from one place to another. Can we consolidate? And it's like, oh, either you or your sister will have to stop by the branch and complete the deceased signer closeout process to transfer the fund into the new account. Thank you. Why did you not tell me this?
I mean, I feel like if you just wait a couple months, there won't be any more federal regulations. So.
Is the FDIC going away?
Everything's on the table. I mean, like, I don't know. Is
a credit union not federal? Because they have insurance too.
Credit union, when you say federal, like, I think they're still governed by rules and regulations. They can't just operate, completely independently. The question, I just think that there won't be any federal regulators to hold banks accountable anymore.
No, what I'm asking is the FDIC insures your money up to a certain amount. Mm-hmm. And if that goes away, then that feels less secure. And I'm wondering, a credit union is insured in some other way.
I don't know.
And I'm wondering if that won't go away. This is a question for ChatGPT. Can I tell you, I have become I went from having zero to do with AI to you're talking to a bot right now. I am an avatar.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? I'm sure everyone else has thought of this, but if you feed enough about a certain person into AI, you could kind of like recreate them, right? I don't see why you wouldn't be able to
create a simulation.
Well, that's what I'm saying. A simulation.
Like
that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not saying actually bring the person back. I'm just saying, like,
the AI theoretically could mimic their writing style and their thought, the way that they think, I guess. But
yeah,
I suppose, like, if you took like someone who is prolific, has a lot of writing and a lot of communications, and you fed it into AI, then they could do. I think there's Black Mirror about this. They could create like a text where it's like you're texting with that person.
But then eventually they could like create a robot and put it into the robot.
Again, Black Mirror episode did that. But I forgot what I was going to say about AI. AI is great.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, I've been having long conversations with ChatGPT.
You can do this if you chat a lot with ChatGPT. You can ask it to create a mind map of what it knows about your brain and your thinking, and it will do it, and it will create with the bubbles and the lines and the whole, like, because it keeps things for about 6 months or 9 months. So everything that you've talked to,
it has you can look at the memories.
It can do like a personality mapping of the way that you think and like help you work things. It's pretty incredible. I would just say use DeepSeek. Don't use Chat. Excuse me. Don't use ChatGPT. It's both more powerful.
Do you have DeepSeek on your phone?
Uh-huh.
And this is like Chinese and illegal or something?
No, it's perfectly legal. Yes, It's Chinese. But people have taken it's open source, so people you can use it on other servers and stuff. It's not necessarily like going to be mining your data. But
why is it better?
Because it doesn't use the same energy, and it's not like, the thing with ChatGPT and all these other AI models is that they use like a ton of energy and a ton of like, just natural resources to power it. Whereas the breakthrough with DeepSeek was that it's both more powerful and less, like a fraction of the energy use.
I talked to it about estate matters and tropical fish. Mm-hmm. And what if my talking to it about tropical fish is like destroying the natural habitat of tropical fish? The irony. Has there already a Black Mirror episode about this?
Yes.
God damn it. God damn it.
I don't like it so much for art purposes, although I have seen a couple things where I'm like, oh, that's kind of neat. But
I mean, I used to like Thomas Kincaid, so I practically love the art of AI.
I think that the art art, so-called, that's
what are you
created
talking
by
about? Like fiction that it makes?
I'm
I don't know
sure
what you
it's
mean.
the same for fiction. I haven't read any fiction by AI. I'm talking about art,
Oh, like visual art.
like visual art, video, whatever, photography. It's like a dream without a dreamer. It's art without an artist.
Mhm.
And so it has this weird sort of like quality to it that's always going to be there, where it's just like soulless.
Like Uncanny Valley?
Yeah, sort of. It's like there's no mind behind this. It's but that quality can be affecting. Like there's this stuff
It's kind of like a style. You're like, no, dumb bitch. Let me just hold my tongue.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like the experience of looking at art that was not created by an artist is unsettling.
Okay.
And so the best AI art is unsettling art. That's where I'm going with it.
I have a question.
Yes.
If you didn't, is it something intrinsic in the art or is it something that you know? Because I thought you were saying it's something intrinsic in the art, which is why I said it's a style. But is it more because you know that it was created by AI? Like if a person made this, would it still be unsettling?
So I'm talking about art that isn't just like landscapes or, AI art where it's like, this is a still life of fruit in the style of whatever. That's just like decorative art.
Right.
And, nothing against decorative art, but you're not going to really like see a huge difference. You're not going to experience a difference. But art that gets into more of the like conceptual art or something that's like expressive, that where you're used to the expressiveness being purposeful, having no purpose, but simply being a mimic,
right?
Some sort of like I said, a dream without a dreamer. That's what it feels like. It's unsettling. And as something that if it's intended to, if someone's like, I want to show you something unsettling, it is. And so it does have that effect.
Right.
It's like, it's not, I guess what I'm saying is it has an effect, and that effect is interesting.
Where are you seeing this?
I just, I get it on TikTok or stuff. I don't know. I see it all over.
Is it unprompted or is there a prompt that someone's putting in?
I think people are prompting it, but it's sort of like,
because I'm just wondering how they're getting it to do its version of art.
Well, you go into the whatever program and you say, give me this, this, and this, and then
Well, that kind of is the dreamer then, isn't it?
No, that's not.
Okay.
It's you prompting a thing.
I feel like you're really frustrated with me right now.
No.
Kind of frustrated with me?
No.
There's a look on your face of like, my interpretation of it is why must I suffer fools, specifically this one that I married. I feel like I'm like not, because we're talking about art, I feel like I'm not getting it in the way you need me to or something. Is that happening?
Mm-mm.
What's this look then?
I was just thinking about what you said.
Oh, okay. Thinking about how stupid it was.
No, I'm trying to remember. I had thought the other day of an analogy of the prompting. So like what it's like. So you said, oh, that's like a dreamer, and it's like
right.
No, and then I was like, I have a thing that it's like, and like, but I can't remember it. So what you probably saw on my face was me
trying to remember.
Not remembering my absolutely perfect fucking analogy.
I hate when that happens because it's not like there's going to be a time later to insert the analogy.
Because it is like something. It's not nothing, the prompting.
Right.
But it's not the work of an artist. But it is the work of this other thing, and I can't remember what it was.
Well, maybe it's like if an art teacher said, paint me an apple. They didn't.
Yeah, it is like that. So is the person who gives you that.
Yeah, no.
Like if I said, everybody paint me a ballerina, is that person the artist?
Are they? Is that Degas?
Right. So it is like that, but that wasn't my really perfect.
No,
analogy.
I know. It was like it would have ended this
podcast.
ChatGPT
and AI is great for a whole bunch of other things. And like and it's kind of incredible. Like you could go, hey, ChatGPT, here's a situation in my life. I'm dealing with somebody who's like this, and you can feed it texts.
Yeah.
And you can feed it or emails, and you can say, give me some advice, and it will give you like pretty good advice.
Yeah.
Insightful. It'll maybe even like, this is like my idea for an AI where you take a picture or a video of someone walking and it analyzes their
This is
arm
one of the
swing.
fundamental DQ notions.
Yes, it looks at their arm swing, and the AI will tell you what their mental illness is.
Daniel has. Oh wait, you've adjusted it.
Their personality
You've
disorder.
adjusted your theory, because your theory was you can tell if someone's mentally unwell by their arm swing. But
That's what I
now
said.
I know, but now you want it to like tell you what kind of mental unwellness they're dealing with.
Yeah, well, I feel AI now is more powerful, honey. This, I came up with this 10 years ago before AI, when
Right.
it was really just like, are they mentally?
Right.
Do they have something? But
Are they
now,
unwell? Yeah.
now I feel like it could tell you what it is.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, that's schizophrenia, or oh, this person is malignant narcissist. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, what a great episode. We did it. I think we nailed it. We have solidified our place in the annals.
God's anals.
In God's annals. All roads in my brain lead to Severance. I have not finished last night's episode because I fell asleep. Was it good?
Oh yeah, every episode.
Did a lot happen, or did not a lot happen?
Yeah, I feel like it. Not like stuff like big cliffhangery stuff,
Right.
or big revelations. But
I'm so
really,
into this show. It's all I care about. And also, I'm a huge White Lotus fan. We're an episode into White Lotus, not holding a candle yet to me.
I think this
It
season's
will.
going to get really good. All I want to talk about is that shot of that character who's revealed. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. I keep thinking about that shot, how perfect it is. How
You're talking about White Lotus now.
yeah, and White Lotus. How
Was that the
How-
end of the episode?
towards the end,
Yeah.
like how the actor was, how he was,
Mm.
how the colors, the way it was composed. I just think like, oh my God, that couldn't have been more perfect.
Mm.
They did.
Sorry, I'm talking about Severance now.
Well, that was perfect too. These are really good shows.
Yeah. I saw some TikToks theorizing what's going on in Severance. Are they right? Just kidding. I didn't tell you what they are. It's
Many of them
interesting.
are not.
Now that I'm like delving into fan theory culture,
Yeah.
I feel like, what if people have spoiled the whole series for me? No, you know what? In Westworld, I had done the same, and none of that turned out to be right.
Season 1, they actually did. Oh, with Westworld, they figured
Really?
it out. Yeah.
I don't remember
And
that.
then and then you could tell that in season 2
They had
they were
read-
aware,
Yeah.
and so they kind of like,
Well, the idea. So I guess Ben Stiller and Dan Erickson maybe have said that it's not cloning. Because remember, we thought maybe cloning is what's happening in Severance, and the creators, unless they're trying to throw people off the scent, they have debunked that.
I think that it's probably more to do with
Immortality.
immortality
Yeah, I think
and
that's probably right.
personality, like radical changes in personality or something like that. Like,
Because they mentioned the revolving. You'll like Helena's father said to her, you know, something about you'll be there at my revolving. So the idea is like, is it like putting your consciousness in a baby or something?
right, like moving your consciousness,
Right.
And
Which, by the way, if anyone has seen that horrendous movie that I hate so much because it scared the shit out of me, Skeleton Key. So this has shades of Skeleton Key.
you know, there's no new ideas under the sun.
Yeah.
It's just about how you do it,
Right.
and it's such a great. I will say this: after saying there's no new ideas under the sun, Severance is exploring
yeah.
a couple things that I don't think anyone has
But do you
contemplated
think
before.
they're taking consciousness of dead people and putting them into baby goats to hold it there till they can get them into like baby humans or something? Or something else?
I don't know. That's not something I'd considered.
Well, consider it, bitch.
That's fucking hardcore.
My new personality is Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad. Yeah, bitch. Would that be cool? Would that be cool if that's who I am now, bitch?
Listen, bitch.
Yeah, bitch.
All right, bitch. All right, bitches.
No, that's not him. Now you're like Parker Posey from Dazed and Confused. I only have very current references. People have talked about Parker Posey's Southern accent in White Lotus.
Are they thinking it's good?
No.
You know who's as good is the guy who plays her husband.
English?
He's English, but he is so fucking good because
you're doing like an Ali G.
Yeah,
hand. You're like a Booyakasha. Bitches.
Her husband in that is perfectly cast.
Yes.
For that character. He absolutely is that guy.
And then it turns out he's a British guy.
Brilliant.
English actors are so much better than we are. Not always, but it's just like so many people in Succession had accents. Maybe it's just the accents.
It's just American actors suck, is what you're saying.
I feel like they're not as good with the accents.
Yeah. I gotta go pick up Owen.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I forgot to tell everyone, if you would like to hear more behind the scenes juicy details, it's all on my Patreon. Patreon.com/Alison Rosen. If you're at the confidant level, you get a daily text from me where I overshare. And if you're going to do patreon.com/Alison Rosen, which I recommend, go for an annual subscription, get 2 months free. Also, I am blabbing on my Substack. AlisonRosen.substack.com. I had been writing about my experience on the Adam Carolla show, and then I sort of shifted gears a little bit when my mom died, but I'll get back to it. But if you're new and you do that, you'll find all that stuff. And for everything else, just follow me everywhere and such. Daniel?
Follow me on Blue Sky, Daniel Quantz. That's it.
Too.
That's it.
Merch, all that. Okay, everyone, thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Hey, do you know about the Alison Rosen show?